call to order item on your screen. Okay? So, yeah? Is that everyone? Okay. Perfect. So you will call to order. We'll take time of when the meeting starts, and then we'll move on from there. Yes, ma'am. We have full quorum. Okay. Our next item is the election for an acting chairman and an acting vice chairman. We'll first do the voting for our acting chairman. Will anyone like to make a motion? You would say, I make a motion to. Oh, yes. So our chairman would proceed with running the meeting. So in this case, Melissa is going to initiate, like, call to order, and then per item, initiate, like, read out the item, and then open the room for discussion. So just kind of officiate, like, the proceedings, and then make sure that everyone's staying within subject of the item that we're discussing. And the vice chairman will follow with that. If the vice chairman is not in here, if the chairman is not here, the vice chairman will play the role of the chairman or step up for that role. Mm-hmm.
And then additionally, Mrs. Chairman, there are also the individuals that sign the minutes as well.
Yeah. For recording purposes, you would need to, yes. Yeah, you would need to. Mm-hmm.
This room's too big and the
Yes,
echoes,
you can't hear.
it's
We
gonna
all
be
don't
hard
have
to
to
hear.
agree.
So what am I supposed to be doing now? Does anybody want to volunteer to be, I guess I already volunteered to be acting chairman.
For this meeting, and then we'll just nominate for these positions up until July when we elect more members, because as you can tell, we're 3 people down. So once we can get a full board again, we would run elections again for those positions.
Well, I don't mind doing it to July, but I don't want to do it for forever unless, don't you want to do it, Lena?
No, Lena doesn't want to. Lena's
Kelly?
too old to do this.
Do we need to second that?
We've got a volunteer right here.
Okay.
Who would initiate? I would just need someone to be like, I make a motion to nominate Lisa to be our acting chairman.
I move for Lisa to be acting chairman.
Okay, let me go ahead and who seconds that?
I second it.
I
Okay,
second it.
thank you. And then I'll start a vote. Let me know if you see that on your screen. You'll say yeah. If you don't, Pedro is out on his way to help you work out through any tech issues.
Luis, I think everybody voted.
Perfect. Okay. Now our second motion, or second voting, sorry, is going to be for our acting vice chairman.
I'll do it.
Okay, I'll just, okay. Who will second that?
I will second that.
Okay, perfect. Is that Kelly? That
Yeah,
second?
that was
Okay,
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, I'll go ahead and start that vote. Okay, let me know when you guys have pressed yes or no
Oh,
on
all
your
done?
screen.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yep, so at this point, our acting chairman, our new elected acting chairman, will proceed to read off of the agenda what the next item is. So at this point, we've done election of acting chairman. The next one is audience participation, and you will just read off this statement on your packet that says audience participation. This is a public meeting, so if we were to have people attend it, we will be legally required to read this as an instruction and letting them know how to participate. For meeting purposes, yes. The room has a lot of echo.
If anyone in the audience wishes to address the board on any item listed on the agenda, please fill out the the audition participation forms located by the east door of the council room. After the form is completed, please hand it to the board secretary. Your request to speak will be given to the chairman, and you will be called upon to speak when the item is discussed.
Perfect. For this meeting, you would just say like, we have an audience participation. If we were to have anybody, you would just give them the room to come up to the podium and address you guys. But we don't have that today. So you'll just say like, we can move forward to our next item, which is the approval of minutes. And you will read over the attachment that I've included of the minutes for our last meeting. Let me know if you have any questions in regards to that.
So like, do I read through this page?
You don't have to read through.
Oh, okay.
You'll review.
Okay.
I know that you weren't able to attend the last one, but at this point, I mean, like, if anybody on the board were to, if anybody on the board that was here last meeting were to have any questions, free to open that. If that wasn't the case in a future meeting, you would approve or let me know if there's anything that would need to be fixed, edited, or whatever it might be.
So do I say it's approved? This is approved? The minutes are approved.
Mrs. Chairman?
Do I sign it?
So what you would need to do is you would go to and say, next item, call as approval of minutes.
Okay.
And then you would say, we have the approval of minutes for February 24th to review. If you guys want to take a few minutes to look at it. And then after a few seconds, have enough for everyone to review, then you would introduce asking if there's a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
And so then someone would make a first motion, and then there would be a second motion, and then the voting would be delivered, and then you would just repeat what the voting was. So we're approving the minutes.
Okay.
If unanimously, or if 3-2, or whatever the amount was.
Okay. So if everyone's reviewed the minutes, then I
I motion
Motion
to
to
approve the
approve.
meeting minutes.
motion to approve the meeting minutes.
And who made that motion?
Melissa?
Okay.
Who would like to second that? Lisa?
I will.
Mhm.
Do I need to sign it too?
I'll give you the copy to sign at the
Okay.
end of the meeting. Yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Chairman, it would have to be someone else from the body since you are conducting the meeting. But you would be an acting person, but it would have to be someone else that votes, I believe.
That does the motion?
Uh-huh,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
At this point, I'm going to leave it and edit it on my notes.
So does someone have a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Susie. Okay. Then you will read off the next item.
Through the slide, the training thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it, like, am I actually reading the stuff on the pages?
No, you would just say our next we move to our next item, Keep Saginaw Beautiful board training.
Ms. Chairman, you would use the agenda. So that first page, it has the structure, and so you would just read the next item.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was.
Yes.
Just the first part.
Yes.
Okay,
Keep
the next
Saginaw.
item on our list is the Keep Saginaw Beautiful board training.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so let me know if you're able to see the attachment on your screen, if you're able to open it on your end so that you can see those slides for that PowerPoint. It's short, 4 pages. Pedro's on his way to the, yeah.
So on the top of underneath your name,
Mm-hmm.
there's a thing that says attachment, so you could just touch that. I'm gonna touch on yours, Lena,
Okay,
and
thank you.
it will
Okay.
slowly
Mhm.
up here. There it is. And then you're gonna have to manually move it unless Lisa brings it up on the screens, but. you
I
have to
can.
Push it back and forth on it manually.
Okay.
And that's how you can see them.
Actually, I don't know if I can, Pedro. I might need your help bringing it up on the screen, just for today's purposes. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so for the purposes of this new transition onto the chambers, we're just gonna go through, what was that, Pedro?
Also, on the bottom left of your screen, there's a tiny screen of what Luisa's showing you. If you click on it, bottom left,
No.
if you click on it, it makes it big.
Mhm.
But if you want to go back to the voting screen, you tap on the screen again.
Oh, cool.
So if you tap on the screen again, Kelly, it will bring it back.
Okay.
Anyone on the screen, doesn't have to be anything specific. So when they have presentations in the future, if you want to look at it big, you'll just click on the bottom left and click on it again to take it away.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. So for the record, per our city council request, they would like all of our boards to formalize the process of meetings and record keeping so that for those same purposes, everybody is following those same guidelines. This is gonna be just like a short run through of procedures for our meetings moving forward. And then once we get to have new members come on board and we actually have a full set of people, we'll repeat this training a little bit more in depth. So per our Open Meetings Act, every regular special called meeting will need to be open to the public. Hence, we have the public participation meeting forms outside, and you have to read that prior to starting the meeting when you direct that as chairman or vice chairman, whoever's running that. For the KSB meeting, we would only need a quorum of 3 people. Since we shrinked our sizing and we only have 5 members and 2 alternate members, we would only need 3 people to show up to have a full quorum moving forward. And it would just be a simple majority. And same case for voting. That would be the same for making a motion and would apply for also all items in the agenda. If you guys wish to speak on anything that's not on the agenda, the only way that you could possibly reference that is like so bringing up an item for a future agenda meeting, and we would just have to refrain ourselves to asking questions or talking on items that are currently in our agenda for the meeting taking place. Sorry guys, I'm not clicking next, I'm just scrolling down. Okay, so again, a quorum must be present to conduct said meetings. Only agenda items can be discussed. All motions must be initiated for future reference. When we're doing approval of minutes, chairman will initiate or like open the room for someone to make a motion, and someone will second that. In following just kind of other general Robert's rules of order for running these meetings, just be cordial to speak in order after someone has finished speaking, or refer yourself to staff to ask questions after other people have. So again, just general meeting rules that would apply to us as well. Duties of the board. So these are our major overarching duties that are presented through the programs that we're implementing. So litter prevention and incentivizing community engagement through those efforts. Second one would be like visiting city facilities and parks to assess their condition and recommend improvements in regards to beautification. So for instance, a park, we can go to Willow Creek, assess a condition and recommend something like a monumental sign, a sculpture, perhaps a ceremonial plaque to recognize someone, or a bench with a sculpture, things of that nature. It will be the same for all their city facilities. In the same way, we would make recommendations to City Council in regards to administration of gifts that the city might receive, or legacies that we receive as a city for beautification purposes. Lastly, we would just, again, promote overall beautification. That could be seen through our banner installment program, Yard of the Month, or Adopt a Spot, some of the incentives that we currently have. And lastly, just a reinstatement of our mission that we have currently posted on our website as a board, and we'll go shortly after and future items for this meeting to discuss updates that have been made to our current programs to kind of increase engagement and hopefully get the word out there. Do we have any questions? Okay, perfect. Go ahead and, should I just close this out, Pedro, to? Okay, perfect. Since we don't have any questions, we're ready to move forward with our next item. So I'll let the chairman.
The next item is a discussion and action regarding the Yard of the Month program.
Yes. So if you move towards your packet to the Yard of the Month updates, the first attachment is the updated application form or nomination form that we have on our website. If you guys go to our Saginaw TX Yard website or Yard of the Month page under the Keep Saginaw Beautiful board, and you scroll down, there's a big blue button, super hard to miss, for people to click nominate, and they will enter this information, choose out of the 4 quadrants in which area the house they're nominating will be required to ensure that they have permission from the property owner to nominate them for that program, and then attach a picture for ourselves for reference. The guidelines remain the same that the board approved back in, I believe it was July of last year. So people will nominate monthly. Nominations close on the 15th. That way, that allows staff enough time to come to the next KSB meeting and present to you guys the nominations for you to judge and select a winner. The second attachment is just a flyer, which is going to be distributed on our quarterly newsletter, as well as attached to people's electric water bills. So the current awards that we have and that were approved back in July for the Yard of the Month program are a certificate of recognition to be presented to the winners at a city council meeting after they get elected by our board. And then the second award would be a sign placed at their front yard.
I guess because I'm kind of confused about several things that we never talked about in any of the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we never discussed that we had to get permission to give, because the idea was we could drive around and get addresses and submit them without knocking on doors. That if we didn't have to know the people, like we could see yards and nominate them. This day and age, I'm not going knocking on people's doors. They get mad and have guns.
So, sorry, can you repeat your question?
Well, I guess where did this, we have to have permission. Yeah, that was never one of our rules, that you had to have permission
Permission, you mean as in like from the property owner to nominate them?
to nominate them, correct?
That would be for someone external to our board. Like if a resident were to submit a nomination, just for liability purposes, ensure that the property owner is aware that they're getting nominated because they are sharing a picture of their property yard or of their front yard to the city. So they would just have to ensure before submitting that nomination that they've talked to their neighbor, be like, hey, I was gonna nominate you for the Yard of the Month contest. I'm hoping that will be okay with you. But I mean, we can definitely change that disclaimer and not have that safety disclaimer in a nomination form if you guys would like.
That was just my thought, because I thought it was, yes, getting people to donate or to nominate, but also that we would.
I guess what's the difference if we nominate them, we're still taking a picture of their yard versus a person out in the public doing it. So either way, there's still a picture of their yard. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
So it makes sense to just take the picture and nominate them. I don't feel like people need to go knock on someone's door and tell them that. I don't think.
So do we want to, I guess for my understanding, do we want to just remove that disclaimer of ensuring that
I would.
people have permission of their neighbors to submit a nomination for
I
them?
think so, yes.
But we want to continue to have this posted online for people to submit nominations? Because we want, I guess the point for the application is to get people to nominate others and get that community engagement aspect of the
Right.
Yard of the Month.
But I think you can nominate somebody without necessarily having a you're still engaging the community
Yeah.
in doing that.
Okay.
And to me, I just don't see the difference, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I take a picture as someone on the board and I submit it, that's still someone's picture of their house. So whether one of us submits it or a citizen of Saginaw submits it for their neighbor, there's no difference in that.
Okay, so
Does-
I would just need someone, if we all agree, I would someone to make a motion for, or give me feedback directly.
Are the nominations like on, I mean, you can make the nomination on the website, but is this where the nominations are all going to be seen on the website? Is that?
No, ma'am,
Oh, okay, so
they
that
get
didn't-
sent
okay.
email directly to our KSB email. That would be our new administrative email, which I oversee. I'll receive those applications. If were turned in after the 15th, then they will be reviewed by the board until the month following. But say I receive them before the 15th and we have another special called meeting on the 24th, I would come on the 24th, show you the nominations we've received. If you don't have any additional, then you guys will look at the pictures and cast a vote based on what you consider the winner, and then we'll award them their certificate of recognition and place the sign on their yard.
So the council gets it first?
No, and council will give them the certificate of recognition. So I'll bring you guys the nominations, you look over the pictures, select the winner. If we don't have any that month, then we just unfortunately don't have any that month. And then on our next city council meeting, we'll have a printed out certificate of recognition. The winner will be made known of that, so if they can attend, we'll give them that recognition in a city council meeting. And then if they can't attend, it'll just be mailed to them. And that's something that was on those like notes as awards, and something that was implemented before, like per the
Can
notes
they
in the
be-
program.
Can they be re-entered?
So per the guidelines that were approved on that meeting, I know that there was like a clause there that winners from prior years couldn't be nominated, as well as like Keep Saginaw Beautiful board members and city council members couldn't be nominated for the contest. But we can change it if we want to like have less restrictions on participation and allow prior winners to be nominated again.
Oh, I don't think
I'm not
winners,
talking
but
about prior
nominees can,
I'm talking like if next month we have 4 pictures to look at, and we pick one, the other 3, are they eligible for the next month?
There's nothing that we have in place or that the board has in place to limit them. That would be up to you guys.
Mrs. Chairman, so right now, the discussion would be what y'all want to implement for
Yes.
the Yard of the Month process. So anything that you want to specify, such as anyone can submit, how many times or who is able to submit. So in this instance, if someone previously won or was nominated but they didn't win, you can also specify that. Additionally, you can specify who would be the voting audience. So would that be KSB? Would that be the public? How are y'all wanting to do that? Are y'all wanting to do that through social media? Or are y'all just wanting to be presented those 4 or 5, how many ever nominations you receive at a KSB board, and discuss that? So all the details that y'all would like to specify would need to be brought up today, and we can always amend it, but it would just set the foundation for all the future applications that you receive. Does that make sense? Does anyone have a question in regards to that, or?
well, I think the discussion was that just limiting winners to only winning once. I think if they get nominated again, I think that's great. That's, until they win.
I mean, if you want to put a cap on, they can't win within the same year, but what's to say?
I
they
think it
could-
was
Was it ever again?
do we have, because I typed those all up and sent that. Do you still have that? Louisa, the ones that I typed up, do you have the final version that we,
Of minutes?
yeah, no, of the rules, specifically the yard of the month thing that I typed up from our last,
Yes, I do have a copy of that.
okay, because that's,
I don't have it on me, but I can definitely share it again if you guys don't have.
So we,
I think we said that year and the previous year, if I recall.
That they couldn't win more
Like
than
in
one. Like a
consecutive,
winner
in
couldn't-
consecutive
yeah.
years, but after that, you never.
And
I
this
think-
application was posted like following the guidelines of those notes, but again, it can be amended based on the foundations you guys laid today.
I would like to submit a motion to remove the disclaimer.
Second.
Mrs. Chairman, so you would be voting on everything that you want to specify today. So you wouldn't have to, if one of the motions you wanted to include in that would be to remove the disclaimer, you would additionally say you want a winner. A winner can be not a consecutive year, but it can be any year after that or any additional things that you want.
For the disclaimer, though, the motion would be to remove the disclaimer so that they would not need to get permission from the homeowner to submit them for nomination.
It's not part of the, so if you're looking at it from the packet, in 1 second, pull that up. So if
Are
you
saying
wanted,
that the motion is to include every single thing we decide?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. You could, your motion, though, to answer your question, it could be to pass it based off the recommendations that's here. But you could go ahead and say staff not staff. You're wanting to pass that an Elkins gift card is rewarded to any winner for $50, and you can change that amount as well. But you would specify the prize. If you wanted a prize, you would specify how many winners a month you would want. You would specify how often you want, like, is this a monthly thing? Is this a quarterly thing? So you would specify anything in regards to that program.
Well,
I don't know what the rules were written on that either.
Well, that was one of the things, because I see that it's the staff recommends, and that was not something that we had discussed, though I'm not necessarily opposed to it.
Yeah,
But
no.
we had never discussed a gift card or anything, but that might,
That's just a staff
That might be a-
recommendation on our end.
yeah, that
not
might be a
something that you guys have.
motivator, honestly, for
Yeah.
people to nominate or nominate themselves at the very least.
Yes,
I mean,
it's always enticing to have a reward, definitely.
yeah.
But you would just have to be aware as a board when you're making those decisions that that money would come from your funds.
That's what I,
So you would have to just think about the amount that you are obtaining or rewarding. And then as well, I know that this recommendation is an Elkins hardware gift card, but if you wanted to eliminate specifying just one gift card from one company, you can just leave it out in general, just any gift card for $50 or, so those are the discussions that y'all need to have today if y'all wanted to vote on something. Now y'all can always table this item if y'all aren't ready to make a decision today, but that would just be how it goes in regards to Robert's rule.
well, I'd love to discuss it today if y'all want to, because we've been talking about this for 3 years at this point and haven't done anything, so, I mean, I like the idea of the gift card, and I like the idea that it's Elkins, because it's local and appropriate for people who keep up their yard.
Is
You can always
is
use
that
Elkins.
awarded
What
every
does
month?
Elkins offer, though?
They have yard tools, and they have pretty yard decorations and flowers and plants and all kinds of stuff. We were just in there last week getting stuff for the community garden, so
I
they,
haven't seen any plants yet.
well, I hadn't seen a lot of plants yet. They had some in there, but last year they had a whole rack out front of vegetables and all kinds of stuff, and they have, it's still a little bit early on there, but, I mean, yard tools and things like that that they can use. I mean, and
Okay,
like I said,
that's,
they have a really pretty birdhouse I want to go back and get. Totally off on the weeds.
The $50
That
gift
would
card
be
would be a
excellent with me.
monthly thing though, right?
But yeah, so we're looking at,
$600 out of the budget. I don't know what the budget amount is for the beauty.
we didn't talk about, there's lots of money in there.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of money.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, so we're looking at like $200 a month, so
a month?
$2,400, because there's 4 areas. That's what we set it out into 4 areas, so there's one winner for each area, potentially one winner for each area each month.
Okay.
And except for the holidays, October, November, December for the holidays, and then it looks like, and then, yeah, it was, I thought we said one for each area for each of those months too, so you're looking at $200 a month, potentially, $2,400 a year, but I mean, we do have the money in the budget for it,
Yeah,
so.
there's, I mean,
If we don't spend it, Gabe will spend it for us, so
that's true.
whether we approve it or not.
Well, then let's spend it.
I mean,
yeah,
so I don't,
No,
I just wanted to make
I
sure,
think
because that
that
wasn't in our original
The gift card
discussion.
is more motivating for a lot of people. It's free money
Than a certificate, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that
that
sounds
they
good
can
to me.
put back into their,
I make a
Sure.
motion, can I make a motion on this?
Well,
So,
Well, I
once we're
think-
ready to make a motion, it'll just be specifying like
so that should they want.
everything that you would want to
specific
have
who wants to
incorporated.
do Every single thing. So it's one motion, but it covers.
I was just looking to see
everything.
if there's anything else that was different from what was in the ones we talked about. Gosh,
So we
was
said
that,
remove the
November?
disclaimer. And then we said $50 gift card to the winner.
well, it's not quite 2,400, because I think we weren't gonna do like January and February. I think we were gonna start March, we were gonna do like April to September, and then October, November, December were holiday.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, but that's about $2,000 a year, which we can do. Yeah, everything else. So we move to remove the disclaimer and approve the gift card,
Gift card, and also,
and that we're reviewing
that if you won, you can't win again for so
in a
long.
consecutive year, I think is what the.
So was it this, you can't win in the same year and then,
And for the consecutive next
So the
year, but
next
then,
year,
yeah,
but you
after
can't-
2 years, I
Okay.
think it was that they could be,
so if you win this year, you can't win again this year or next year?
right. And then, but then the year after that, they can be nominated and win again. That was,
So within a 2-year period.
yeah,
Right, right.
not,
Once-
yeah, not
Once in
with,
a 2-year
once in a
period?
2-year period, they can, I mean, anybody can nominate, obviously, but they can't win except once in a 2-year period.
And I think that's very fair.
Do we want to put in there that there can be honorable mention? Would that promote it more in the community?
Like a second place?
Like if you won it Yard of the Month this
Mhm.
month, but there was 2 others that were up for nominations. If we said,
Ms. Chairman, just as a reference, I do have now a copy of what was discussed
Okay.
during that meeting. So when going to eligibility, all citizens living in a house in Saginaw city limits will be eligible. Exceptions include city council members, beautification committee members, judges appointed, and winners from previous year. We'll change that now so that you can win in a period of 2 years,
Yeah.
so same thing.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions as to what was
I
stated
thought
here?
that we also discussed that a minimum of one winner, but we left it to discretion that if we wanted to have more than one winner in a month. and
Yes, that could be
We left
selected.
that as a discretion in that,
Okay.
the thing.
Depending on the number of
If you have a yard in
nominations.
Each of the 4 districts, then
And
Yeah.
it's-
you would have 4
and
Right.
It's up to us
Yeah.
to
to decide
control
that,
that.
right?
Yeah. So we can,
Did you, Lena, did you want to do an honorable mention yard?
I think that's what we left the discretion up to, being
Oh,
able
I
to
see.
give an additional
That's
award
what
if
that
we
was.
chose,
Okay.
yeah.
So the
I
disclaimer.
was just thinking that if you give that honorable mention,
Mm-hmm.
then that would
Entice them to make
entice
it,
other people to do
If
You
you,
know.
if you do the honorable mention though, are they eligible to still be re-entered back into the yard of the month?
Sure,
Okay,
sure. But I just think it would be nice
yeah,
of
it's
us to
also-
do honorable mention of anybody that is submitted, really.
okay.
That's just my opinion.
But that's up to our discretion, right? That's gonna be included in the part that says there can be a minimum of one winner, but that's included in that, right? Am I understanding that right?
Beautification Committee may elect to give out more than one award per area based upon the number of entries received. Number of awards and categories can be at the committee's discretion monthly.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Then
if
it's
one
covered.
area had 15 people, or, you know, you might, and then that person who got the certificate or whatever can win the next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have
I
that
feel like if you
discretion.
give
It's
an
just
honorable
the,
mention, like she's saying, that's gonna
Yeah.
motivate them to maybe do something extra to be nominated again. Yeah.
okay. So we're moving to remove the disclaimer. We do want to, can only win within a 2-year period. We can, our discretion to add additional winners or honorable mentions, and we
Approve
are
a
approving the
$50
gift
gift
card
card.
per,
Are we gonna do,
Winner.
are we going to specify Elkins, or do you just wanna say $50 gift card?
We can do, Mr. Chairman, we can do a $50 gift card from just a local business if you guys don't want to
Okay.
close that option out in case Elkins ever disappears. We would need to like at that point have another agenda
Yeah,
item.
That's why I was saying, do
or
we
the
wanna leave
company
that
just stops gift
open-ended
carding.
So that
Yeah.
if we decide maybe we have to get them a Home Depot, I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Home
Like
Depot, or that
way-
new Moon Nursery.
Yeah,
What, nursery?
That new, the Moon, is it Moon Nursery? Up on, up at what used to be Fossil Creek, right up there at the end of,
I didn't know you changed.
yeah, it was, I think it was Fossil Creek, right up there at the end of Bailey
Yes,
Boswell.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's now Moon Nursery,
Moon nursery, okay.
but they're not technically in Saginaw, so we could just say
Okay.
local.
I
I
We
would
could,
say
if we could
$50
say,
gift card.
If one of the nurseries or businesses said, hey, I'll just donate that, does that need to be in there too?
no,
We would
No, it
accept
just
a
wouldn't.
donation for the
Oh.
gift card?
no, but Moon Nursery's not big on donating, I can tell you that,
I mean,
But what if,
because they're not in the city of Saginaw, they told us.
okay,
they're
never
technically
mind,
in Fort
never
Worth.
cancel.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
not go into
That's
that.
getting kind of,
That gets complicated.
yeah, we'll
I'm
just,
just saying that if you went into Elkins and to buy a gift card for the beautification, and Mr. Elkins himself was there at the counter, and he said, let me just donate that.
We take it,
yeah, I mean,
We could accept it without any clause here.
I think so. City's not gonna turn it down the free money. Okay, so those are our motions then, those 4.
Ms. Chairman, I did want to bring up another point of discussion, since we have you here, for the timeline of the application, as well as to who can nominate. Right now with this form, because again, this is all draft, or theoretical for this program. With this form, we have it open for the public to submit nominations. I know that in the notes, we wanted to have KSB, like nominations will be accepted by citizens or directly from committee members as well. Do we want to keep both options open to submitting nominations, or do we want to just leave it for one?
I thought we left it open, because at least to start, we figured we would have to
Maybe submit it ourselves?
submit ourselves until we got
Okay.
it going. That was what our discussion was, that's
Mhm.
my opinion, I'm not the chairman.
yeah,
Sorry,
that's fine.
I'm feeling very opinionated today.
I would say,
Well, all those opinions are useful, so that I can go back and
I would
edit
say,
these.
however you guys discuss that, that's fine.
Yeah, that was, I say it needs to be from all
Needs
of
to get
us.
started. And we really need to, it needs to be able, I feel like we do need to have it open to the public anyway, because you need to be able to see how much community engagement you're getting out of it.
I just had to bring out something else we discussed about, when we were gonna start it, because, I guess the city newsletter only goes out quarterly now. And originally, we were gonna try and get it in December, but since Keith left then and all that, so we never got it into the community newsletter for December.
Could we start it
Can
in,
we-
in April?
when can
and
we
do
get it
through
in?
Social media?
Yeah, that
Okay.
flyer has been submitted to Pedro, our communications department, and he'll be including it on this quarterly
Okay.
newsletter. Yes.
And then
The-
will he do social media posts on it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I was waiting until after this meeting, because I know that social media can be a little bit more detailed than a flyer, so that we didn't include any disclaimers that we maybe like changed during this meeting. But the flyer has been added to the list of advertisements for that newsletter.
And we had discussed that we would all be able to share it on local groups. Like I'm on the Saginaw
the
Community
residents'
Garden neighborhoods, our different neighborhoods, the moms groups and all that stuff, that we could help promote that through, from the city page.
Yeah.
So,
Ms. Chairman, so y'all would be able to do that yourselves through y'all's individual social media, but the city of Saginaw cannot share anything on any page that's not the city of Saginaw, just for
Right.
the record.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
just share their
Understood.
stuff from their page, yeah.
And then the
just for us to help get out the
Right.
awareness.
Yeah.
Of course, you're more than welcome to share the post.
Yes. And Ms. Chairman, the other point of discussion for you guys that I wanted to clarify was the timeline. Right now, we have the due date being the 15th for people to submit nominations
For that
That-
month?
for that month.
Particular month?
Yeah,
Well-
for that particular month. And then if they were, because the nomination portal is going to stay open. If I were to receive something after I've met with you guys and
It
shown
would-
you what people nominated, it would just roll
It'll
forward
roll
to
over
the
to the
next
next
month.
month.
Do we want to keep it that way?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
what we.
yes.
Because we meet on the third Monday of every month, and we would change our schedule depending on when Parks Board meets, because they meet on the third Monday of every odd month. But we'll just continue to do, for the purposes of our board, we do need to meet monthly.
So we would meet after the cutoff.
Yes.
Usually.
Okay.
It just falls on that.
Right.
That's what we figured. And anything that we miss would go on to the next one.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So nominations will be, just to clarify, received the month before. What I received throughout the month of September is intended for the month of November. Okay. October, my bad. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
None of us got
I, I heard the burrs. They're all burrs.
Okay. So the points that we have is, just as a refresher, what we've been taking notes on is remove that disclaimer. We are good with the recommendations of the gift card recommendations. Winners can only win within a 2-year period. Honorable mentions would be left to staff discretion.
Yeah, it's included in what they already have written, like, because we can have, where the part that covers the minimum of one, but then there's other discretions, that's already included in there, so we're good. It doesn't
And more than one nomination per quadrant on this map can be accepted. So if I were to receive 5 nominations of the map section 3, we can receive more than one, and there can be more than one winner a month, or do we want to keep it as just one winner per month?
We included in it that we would,
Just wanting to confirm if that's still.
yeah, have more,
Okay.
that we could potentially have more than one if we,
Okay,
Yeah,
at our discretion, at the board's discretion. And that we were going to say local business, not necessarily Elkins,
okay.
just in case.
and do we want to start this April?
If they've already got it in the, are we starting it in April, or is the newsletter coming out in April? When's the newsletter?
The flyer is for it to start, like kick start on the 1st of April. So that's when
Okay.
people can start submitting nominations, and you guys can as well.
Excellent. Oh, my neighbor's going to be so mad. Well, my ex-neighbor, they just moved. And he always put my yard to shame. It was bad.
So at this point, we've covered awards timeline, procedures of giving out people awards, who can nominate, how many winners can be, who will be judging, which will be the board. And we've also covered any edits to the application, which so far is only removing that disclaimer. I'll give you more time to discuss if there's anything else that we want to finalize for this program or edit on that application. If there's nothing else, then I would need someone to make a motion for those items that you guys want to approve today.
I move approval based on the recommendations we made.
Sorry. Mrs. Chairman, you would have to specify making a motion regarding the Yard of the Month program and then specify each one.
Okay.
Wait, am I doing it or is she doing it?
Since you're here, it will
You would
you.
be asking for it, a nomination.
Oh, so I say, is there a motion
Yes.
to? Okay, is there a motion to, don't I have to specify everything?
You could just say for the item.
Okay, for the items we discussed on the,
And then the person who makes the first would say, Mrs. Chairman, I have a first for regarding the Yard of the Month program with the following conditions: April through September, October through December, $50 gift card to any local business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So I move to approve the Yard of the Month program with the staff recommendation of the gift card from a local business
$50 or?
for $50 for April through September and October through December. And that we would remove the disclaimer on the application, and the committee still has the discretion for honorable mentions or additional awards at their discretion, and the winner would only be allowed to win once in a 2-year period.
and then multiple entries too?
Multiple entries?
And can be nominated again if they don't win, is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're meaning by that? Multiple entries? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then the 15th being the due date for
And
every
the
month,
And the
if
15th
not, they
being the
roll
due date.
over. And then lastly, for staff discretion for honorable mentions, with that, you mean as in posting people that were nominating monthly and didn't win
Correct.
to our web page, our city socials?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you'll also wanted to add the KSB as well as public nominations are allowed, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a minimum of at least one award winner per month if there are nominations for that month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to add to that, or is that complete?
I think that was all.
Okay, if so, then someone can second it.
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start that vote. Okay, do we have one more person?
Kelly?
You gotta hit.
Yeah, your name.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Page are we on now?
We should be past the flyer.
That one right there.
Ms. Chairman, I'll let you take us over to the next item. in our-
The next item up for discussion is regarding the Highland Station median sign.
Okay, so as a background, I guess, in 2024, the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board discussed the desire to replace the Highland Station median sign for that residential area located at FM 156 in Basswood. In your attachments, I've included a screenshot of the map for reference, as well as what the monumental sign looked like prior to be taken down. After talking to our Public Works Director, Newsom, he told us that there was no contractual obligation on the contractor who conducted the repairs on the road to reinstall that sign. Thus, the city would be responsible for replacing it. However, because the sign had already been damaged per the highlighted picture on that second attachment that shows that it had been hit by a vehicle and portions of it had fallen down, exposing the sand for the planter built into it, it would have needed to be taken down, again, per our Public Works Director. So staff would like to inquire, based on that information, if the board is interested in sponsoring to purchase and install the replacement for that median sign at that location. If you guys were to be interested, then you'll advise me of that, and I can get us quotes to assess what the financial impact would be in our budget.
I'm slightly biased because I live in that neighborhood,
Well,
but I think it should have been replaced, either by the contractor or if somebody hit it with their car,
like, why did insurance?
why didn't insurance
Yeah.
cover it? Of course, that's assuming that whoever hit it with the car stayed and, yeah.
Is there any estimation of what it will cost us?
Not at the moment. First, we wanted to get your feedback to see if you would be interested, because I would need to get quotes from different contractors, and depending on the cost, we might need to post a bid for it.
What's the minimum for posting a bid?
I was gonna say,
I believe if it's above $50,000, we would need to post a bid.
I would think we need to know the cost before we.
but that's what they're
I was gonna
asking, if
say,
we would, that's what they're asking, would we be interested? So, I mean, we're not, it's not gonna, we're not approving that today, but at least we could look into it and see what it would cost to do it.
But there are people that will turn that all the way around and do it anyway and take it out of our budget.
Okay, so we don't want to.
You know, that's my opinion. I've seen it more than once.
Okay, thank you.
Because they can take it to city council and never mention that we have said yes or no. They just decide to take the money.
Thank you,
It's
Kelly.
very,
Well, I think,
So are you saying don't get bids or go ahead and get quotes and see what we're looking at?
I would say just tell the city it's their, it needs to come out of their budget, not ours. No, that's one person.
yeah. What do
agree
you,
with
what do
you,
you
Kelly.
think, Melissa?
I don't know. I mean, there actually is another Highland Station sign.
There is.
So I thought a welcome to Saginaw sign would be better there. Yes, there is a Highland Station sign. It's, you can't, if you go south there on Basswood, as it's showing in here, the first turn street, there is a Highland Station.
Another sign, look, is it a?
It's in somebody's yard, basically.
Has it ever been hit or knocked down?
No.
No.
Not that
So
I've ever,
if this sign is continually whacked by vehicles,
Maybe they look at different
Why?
alternatives for
I don't know.
taking the sign out.
why don't
I
they
would
just
say it was
remove
there. What, which, that one? The other
Yeah,
one?
The
I don't-
one that's got damaged, why don't they just?
Oh, it's been
remove it?
removed. It's gone.
it's gone.
It got moved during part of the construction.
So-
And that's what the neighborhood's upset about, because I don't know who paid to put it in, but since it was removed as part of the construction, you know, they felt like it should be put back. Because it had been repaired after it got hit the last time.
Who was the
Gabe and the
construction?
city
Was it the
council.
city?
What was that?
Why didn't Gabe and the city council fight that? Or do we even know?
So it was not on the contract with that contractor. The sign was just taken down during the construction because of the condition it was already in, and the city already needed to either repair it or remove it, per the discussion with our Public Works Director.
Well, I can talk to Randy too, because that's not exactly
No,
true.
it's not.
It stayed up through all the construction. They had to take it down when they leveled the ground down there. Otherwise, it was fine. But when they re-leveled the ground and they made it slope, that Highland Station sign was at like shoulder level when you're sitting in a car, because they had to lower the ground. So it would have had to have been taken down regardless of its status, but it had been repaired after the last car hit it. At least visually.
So it's somewhere in a warehouse.
Oh, no, I'm sure it got,
Demolished.
because when they did the construction and narrowed that, they narrowed it to the point that it was like
Just,
hovering over the edges and had no base, and so
So
then
they
it
just
started crumbling
Put it in the
more.
dumpster.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's gone.
Okay,
They didn't save
why
it.
even bother replacing it then?
That I don't know. I don't know who, I didn't bring up the
Is
original
there a-
replacement of
Is there
it.
an urgency that that be replaced from the city?
so that's what I was going to say to our chairman as well. Per our discussion with our public works director, right now there's no urgency from the city to place that, given the other priorities that we have, unfortunately. So because of the many times that we've had to replace it due to damage from vehicles, we would just not be able to prioritize it at the moment. So the only alternative, if we really wanted to expedite that process, was as they're checking in to see if the board's interested, to finance and install the sign.
I say no.
I would say that, I mean, it's already gone.
Too many
I-
other things we need to spend our money on.
I agree with
And a
that,
sign that
but
gets
I
hit.
also say the community is, they're already ranting over it on boards all over the neighborhood, so it's gonna come up somewhere.
No, and I think it should come up at the city council meeting.
Well, I agree, but
And that-
what
then it
Kelly
forces
says is gonna
us out
happen
of
is that they will just take it out of our budget.
So then what's the alternative?
You have
But
to
that I
really
don't, you have to
say
watch
you
you have to watch the council meetings.
What,
But,
let me
so
ask
that's-
this while we're on that subject. What prevents the city council from jerking money out of our account for whatever they decide that we need to pay for? Is there anything there that stipulates that this is the beautification monies and that the board has to approve the use of it before it's removed? Is there anything there?
The city, once we, case in point, putting the, Angela Stanford on the water tower,
Uh-huh.
we specifically asked for it to be postponed for 30 days. So we could go out and look and see if there was a different place to put it. The picture's an awful picture of her and certain things. And I was in the Panhandle, and I was watching, and Keith nor Gabe told the city council that we tabled it. One of the city council members said, well, did the beautification committee pass it? Nobody really said yes, and nobody really said no, and I'm gonna be ugly here. Gabe knew we had tabled it. Okay, even if we had tabled it and they knew that, they have the right to override that.
So our money's really not our money, it's what the council wants to do with
Pretty
it.
much. And it's happened several times. And,
Like I
it is
say,
frustrating.
Is that the stipulation that the city council can override our finances anytime they want to?
So to answer your question, it is the community's money, the city's money. The board's role is to make recommendations for the use of that, and the ultimate decision is for city council. In terms of this item, though, because the city cannot, in terms of budget and just priorities that we have for other repairs, prioritize it right now, bringing it up to you guys as an alternative to finance it was just brought up as a solution, since
Okay.
per the minutes of prior meetings, it's been something that you guys had been looking into. But if you don't wish to move forward with that alternative, we'll take that guidance or that advice from you guys.
I move we take it out of our hands. We table it, what, are we tabling it, or just,
Do we need to table it, or do we need to?
just,
That's our
Since it
choice.
is
That's
a
our
dis-
choice. What do we wanna do?
Or do we want to remove the whole concept idea?
Well, we can just say, no, we would not like to,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
finance
Say no, we
that
don't wanna do
particular
it.
issue.
Okay,
That's,
Okay.
let's put it to a vote.
well, I move that we,
So because it is a discussion item, we wouldn't need to make a motion, or can we make a motion, Susie?
Yeah, Mrs. Chairman, y'all wouldn't have to make a motion for this because it's not an
An action
action item, it's just discussion. But based off the summary of what I can hear, it sounds like y'all possibly don't want to entertain this. So then it just wouldn't move forward in the sense of voting or bringing it up again unless for some reason there was, more funding on other parts or anything like that. But again, it's not a priority, so I would assume that it would just be nailed.
Can we,
them to know what we
I was about
said.
to say, can we move that we don't want to pay for this if it should come up?
Ms. Chairman, you cannot make an action on it, but it's going to be noted in the minutes.
Okay.
So that's where the record keeping is great, because we have formal minutes that have to be publicized on our social, on our website, then everyone has access to those minutes, and so it's going to be noted that overall, the board did not want to discuss this further.
Can I ask a side question here?
Of course.
Since this is all going on, do I have to write up the minutes every month?
No, Mrs. Chairman, the city liaison would do that.
That was, I've fought for that for the year and a half or however long we've been aboard. That's one of the reasons we're in here, is somebody else is to take the secretary's job.
Excellent.
Because we are a board. We were a committee for a very, very long time, and I'll be real honest with you, I'm the one that fussed.
I'm the secretary for so many things.
Mrs. Chairman,
To go to a board.
so did y'all overall sentiments? No,
Yep.
not wanting to discuss further? Okay.
Okay.
So we will note that in the minutes, but there's no formal action from y'all.
Okay.
And if you're ready, you'll go ahead and move
Okay.
on to the
The next item's discussion regarding potential art projects for beautification.
So, Gabe, our city manager, received a note from the artist that's doing sculptural bench for the new library. That artist inquired about other opportunities for artwork in the city. And council, city manager would like to inquire if our board would be interested in adding any decorative or monumental entrance signs at perhaps Willow Creek Park, north and south, located at the intersection of Knowles and McElroy, or a potential installation of a sculpture at the roundabout planned at this intersection that's set to begin construction in the first week of April. Attached are the reference pictures of the artist's work. First is a mural, and the second picture is the actual sculpture to be placed at the new library of the woman sitting at the bench. Then the last one is just of the projected roundabout for that intersection for you guys to get an idea of what that layout's gonna look like. I circle the areas that city council was referencing when, wanting to inquire of your interest of a potential monumental sign that says Willow Creek Park North and South Side, or something of that nature, if the board's interested.
Is this firmly inside Saginaw, or is this where the entrance? I just think we need to have welcome to Saginaw in more places.
Up by the railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah, that.
Well, I know about that one, but that's the only one that I know of.
Okay.
You're saying the signs be like, welcome to Saginaw.
Yeah, I just didn't know if this is all the way in Saginaw, or if this is on the line, or
This is in,
Knowles and-
it's not on the line.
it's not on the line. Okay.
No.
No,
It's inside of the
it's,
city.
sorry, it's in Saginaw,
Yeah.
right this intersection,
Yeah, it's
section
right-
as
Oh,
you drive down.
This one, okay, I guess I'm thinking it was
Yeah,
further
Knowles
down.
and McElroy.
And they're wanting to put a sculpture there?
So that was one of the things they said,
Okay, talk about getting hit by
I
traffic.
know, that's exactly what I was gonna say. How many cars are gonna miss that roundabout and
You go
take out a
over.
sculpture?
You go talk to the fire chief, because I asked that question. I said, how are you gonna get around the roundabout? He's got to go over it.
Well, this is not in
It's
the
not
middle.
in
They're
the
showing, in these
It's on
pictures,
the
they're showing it on
outside.
the,
It's,
But still, I think we need to ask them if that's gonna impair them any way, shape, or
I don't
form.
think it will.
Ms. Chairman, it is also just a recommendation to see if the board would be interested, and locations are tentative,
Yeah.
so.
I don't
Mrs.
think-
Chairman,
Yes.
sorry. Sorry, I lost my voice there. And additionally, any proposal, it doesn't have to be a sculpture, right? It could be anything that you want, an art installation of some sort. And if y'all were to try and look into this further, when the final decision is reached, city will have to go through all departments to make sure fire marshal would be included in those conversations. So that would be something internally with staff at that point. So you wouldn't have to worry about it today. It would just be what your thoughts are on.
Is this a 2-lane roundabout?
No.
And additionally, whatever art piece they install would have to have some sort of setbacks so that, you know, if it was a sculpture, no one hits it or, you know, destroys it. Obviously, with the Highland Station monument that y'all just saw at the previous item, no one can avoid certain scenarios, right? But if you push it back a little further, then, or if you have barriers in front of it, there are different things that you can implement to try to avoid that. And again, that would be researched when staff, if again, y'all decide to move forward at that time.
And this item, like the other ones, is just, are we interested in it? Right, the interest.
Correct.
Can I just say what I want to say?
Yeah.
I would rather save that idea of sculptures until we get the new library and new senior citizens built and put our money there.
Well, they're putting this one there. They are
We're
putting this one.
there.
This one is going
That
at the
is
library.
the library.
Going in the library,
It's going out there on,
Yeah.
outside.
outside.
This is,
Well,
this
I'd
is
rather-
the exact one.
I'd rather us do that and then instead of putting one at that, what I consider very dangerous to an older person, those dodge and darts that they're putting in everywhere. I'd much rather have a traffic light. I know they're.
I don't know
flashing.
how interested I am in the sculpture, but I do like the artwork. I love the artwork. And
I like the idea of a
I'm
sign.
not
So-
complaining about the art.
No, but I'm pointing that out because they're talking about adding artwork and or sculptures, so like that's all included. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about the sculptures.
I don't,
the
say I'm not a
statues,
fan of the
but
sculpture because I'm just afraid it's gonna get killed.
the artwork that's even out there now, like I love the artwork.
But this, I like the idea of a sign,
Yeah, even a sign.
for a Willow Creek type sign.
So the topic, the discussion is, are we interested?
I'm interested in,
I don't have a
I was gonna
problem
say, I'm interested in it
with
too.
being in with,
Maybe.
With-
Yeah.
I would have to say I'm interested in it,
but
but where it's located,
Right.
I might have an objection.
yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, you take afternoon when school lets out, and the school buses and all of the traffic.
Well, but and these are the spots that they were looking at putting them too, not in the middle of that thing.
I know, but you get all the traffic
Yeah.
going in that circle.
Mhm.
Who's gonna have time to look at,
Maybe it's more for the walkers that are in the park.
That's why I like the idea of just this Willow Creek sign, but,
who's gonna have time to look at the artwork? If-
no sculpture, no, I don't think.
If, you're trying to dodge and dart cars.
I like the monumental entrance sign.
Yeah, the sign.
Yeah,
Artwork.
not a,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Ms. Chairman, for the record too, like if you guys were to discuss or determine that you are interested, you could also provide feedback as to perhaps other locations that staff can look into and talk back to city council and or city manager to see if maybe, if not at the roundabout, the monumental signs or. Mhm. Yeah, if you have any recommendations different from now, you can let us know. If they're different from what they're proposing, so that we can look into it. So maybe you can be like, we're not interested in a roundabout sculpture, but we're interested in this.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not interested really in the roundabout sculpture, but I think a monumental sign is a good idea. I also think the artwork is a good idea. And I'm not opposed to a sculpture, but not in the roundabout. Not there.
We were talking about art at other places. I don't know if that's on our discussion.
Well, the whole idea is the
Yeah.
artist was just looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the same artist that did the sculpture, the one that did the painting?
Yes.
Okay, it's the same one. Is that the same artist that's done the other, like, okay, the other paintings
The
around?
one that's on JR's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
And then the one on where Kiko is, right?
Yeah, the old fire station one.
Yeah, and then the one
The
that's
one,
down there
the
that's-
blue one, that was a different artist.
That was a different
That's
artist?
a local lady that
That's
I
a-
would highly recommend. We use her every chance we got on that kind of art, because she was a lot cheaper, and she lives here. This man doesn't live here.
And Mrs. Chairman, you don't have to specify, if you wanted to just discuss, look into different artists, you can. Again, because it's not a vote, we're not going to formally vote on anything today. It's just a discussion. And, based off the kind of art, I will say, the price may be different based off a sculpture versus a two-dimensional piece or a three-dimensional piece. So just based off the artist's skill, it may be different. You may not be able to go with one or the other. You may have to go outside that wheel as well. So that's just a discussion for another day as well, but I just kind of wanted to let that be known as well.
Shut up. I'll keep my mouth shut.
No,
I think it's
don't-
good. I think
No, you need to speak up.
we're interested with the recommendation of the monumental sign, right?
Yes.
Artwork, but looking into multiple artists, including local artists, like being we want community engagement in things. Like, I think allowing people in our community to do those things in our city helps with that. Sculptures, or, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just not in the roundabout.
Not at the roundabout. Yeah, that's what I got.
What do you guys, what else?
Agreed.
What do you think, Lena?
Agree,
Okay.
agree with you.
So just not interested in something on the roundabout, but definitely looking at options. We're still interested in that, perhaps like a Willow Creek monumental sign for north-south side of the park, and perhaps other options. So you're just directing that to me to find pricing on options, or do we want to just like take this back, for me to report it back to city council as to what you guys expressed interest in, and then see if they do want to, if we want to move forward with me exploring pricing for a monumental sign.
Say, what, take it back to council and see if they're good with that? Take it back to council
Yeah.
Okay.
and see if they're good with that before we go through the whole pricing.
Do y'all know on the roundabout up here, that area that's got it's one of our spots, is it going to be destroyed?
Oh, one of our adopted spots is
Yeah,
up there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean,
No.
I would understand it if it would, I was just curious.
Mrs. Chairman, we can definitely look into that to try to confirm with Ms. Stewart's question, but we don't have an answer currently.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
It just popped into my head, I thought about it.
that's a
Well,
great
yeah, 'cause we
question.
probably need
Yes.
to, we need to let whoever's
Yes.
that
When I
spot.
drive by.
We'll get an answer and we'll try to see if we can coordinate some things
in
as
the
well.
adopted spot, I don't know if it's adopted right now. But- And I guess destroyed was not the right word, just, I can see
Dem-
that it
demo-
would be in the
demo-
way.
Demolish.
Yeah.
We'll look into that and provide a report.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else to discuss.
Is everyone good? So we would be moving on to public hearings, but there's no public.
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's no public hearings today, but it would be the next one.
Yes. So under staff reports, adopt a spot program updates.
Yeah, so this is just kind of an update of where we're at with the Adopt a Spot program. Right now, we currently have just 7 spots that are awaiting renewal. out of the ones that we still have signs up for the city. Staff, myself, is currently working through reaching out at those organizations and individuals to see if they will be interested in renewing that adoption. Once I find out which spots adopted currently would need to be removed with current construction, as well as for the planned Opal Jennings and Ryan Schrinkler Park construction, those spots will need to be removed as well. So again, working on getting that final timeline of construction to update applicants or adoptees, of their status. In the attachments, I've included a caption of what it looks like currently on our website. Just pretty much like changing arrangement of the guidelines that were already existing for the program. Added an event preparation packet so that they can perform their mandatory cleanups yearly and report that back to staff. So waivers that would need to be signed in case there's children participating in cleanups or anything like that would need to be submitted to staff. And they'll have the option to apply. Again, those applications go to us where we can assess that, bring it to the board, and if any modifications need to be made to their spot, if it's not an approved area for the city, then we'll just move forward from there. The second attachment is just the flyer, which again will be posted together with the Yard of the Month contest flyer and our quarterly newsletter. It's already been included in it, and it will continue to be added to people's electronic water bill attachments to incentivize adoption of more spots, given that we'll have a couple of locations no longer be available. That's my update. I'm open for any questions.
On the Brian Schweik, I can't ever say it, and Opal Jennings, are they gonna put a different sign up? Is that sign gonna stay where?
It will have to be, the spot will have to be just completely removed during the duration of the repairs of the park, but I don't have a finalized timeline for when those repairs will start and how long they'll take, unfortunately. So it just won't be an eligible area for adoption meanwhile.
Well, I understand that, but they will keep, or they will somehow put why it's an Opal Jennings park. I mean, her story is up there.
For
On
the,
Opal Jennings.
But your question is, they would put what up, sorry, as part of the
Well,
construction?
there's a large sign there that tells you why it's called Opal Jennings.
Okay.
And just want to make sure that something similar gets put back up about what happened and why it's dedicated to Opal Jennings.
I don't have that information right now, but I can follow up with our Public Works Department and let you know what the plans are for that sign. If they'll just store it in place and then place it back, or
Okay.
what would happen.
That's my spot that I've adopted for a long time, and I just want to
Keep
see.
it going.
Well, somebody's going to have to take over because I'm leaving. Okay, thank you.
So you said Brian Swegler Park and Opal Joe Jennings, they're gonna be taking those signs out for construction, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then if the board doesn't have any more questions for staff right now, you're welcome to move on to the next.
Does anyone else have any more questions on it?
No, ma'am?
Okay, the next item on the list is updates on city banners.
Okay, so this is one of the ongoing processes that we are just waiting on a report back from Encore to move forward. So in December of 2024, we had 46 total holiday themed banners that were installed across Bay Lake Boswell Road, Old Decatur, and Longhorn Road. Currently, though, there are 16 banners throughout that are mismatched designs and are not like in a particular order after city staff did like a drive around to locate all of the areas where we still have some banners up. In communication with the company that provides that service, they will need a 2-week notice prior to going ahead and removal, as well as like an appointment with Public Works because you'll need assistance from our trucks and our staff He did mention that if we wanted to go ahead and install new ones on the same day that we want to remove the old ones, the price could be bundled up so that it could be lower. Now, we followed up with Encore to make sure that, those locations were still allowed. And if we were to potentially change location of banners or add new ones, if we were clear, but we were told that a new request would have to be submitted and that poles with double fixtures are no longer allowed. Therefore, the banners that we currently have up just wouldn't be permitted anymore. So we're waiting on Encore to report back and see if there's any exceptions that could be made so that we could continue to keep banners in double fixture poles. But staff, myself, is looking into other potential locations to increase visibility of banners, as well as comply with the guidelines that Encore places since we're placing them on their poles. Once I have that response, and if we're told that the locations that we have the banners up are not allowed anymore, we will just have to move forward with the new planned address or planned locations to have the banners up and place either an order for new banners or place existing ones strategically to best utilize those resources. We currently have a total of 45 banners, but we don't have more than 20 in a single design. So we only have Happy Holidays, 7 banners, and then the season greetings, we have a total of 6. Welcome to Saginaw with the American flag, we have a total of 16 banners. And the Welcome to Saginaw with the city logo that has writing City on the Right Track, there's only 7, and an additional 9 that have autumn leaves. Other ones have either been misplayed due to weather. I'm not sure if they get taken down, but after again going through what we have in stock in city facilities, what was left by Keith, and what our vendors have record of, this is all we have in stock. So proposed locations that staff's looking into, if Longhorn, Old Decatur, and Bailey Boswell are no longer allowed because of their poles, would be McElroy, since all of the poles that are on this corridor where we have all of our city facilities have just one fixture and would be eligible per Encore's guidelines to have those banners put in place. So again, once I kind of receive those updates from Encore and I can finalize something to present to you guys, I'll bring that to our next meeting for your approval or review or feedback.
So you said Longhorn, Old Decatur, and Bailey Boswell are no longer allowed?
Yeah, so the poles that we are using currently on those roads have 2 fixtures, meaning they're in a median and they have the 2 lights that go out that way. Per Encore's new guidelines for requests to put up banners in their poles, those poles are no longer eligible. So we can only use poles that have just 1 light, or wood poles, or decorative poles like the one that's right outside of City Hall that looks different, shorter, and a little prettier than the other ones. Those are the only 3 options that we have. Hence, it would probably, depending on what we hear back from them, we will have to change our locations. So at the moment, we're looking at potentially the McElroy corridor, maybe some, one on each corner of the city and some in Saginaw Boulevard, somewhere to increase our visibility.
Those are our mostly traveled streets, and we're not even able to do our back.
And we can't do Saginaw Main Street because
I know,
that's
it's
Tech
DOT.
dot, so that one we can't do at all, but yeah.
That's crazy.
And Blue Mound is technically Fort Worth.
So we wasted our money there, haven't we?
Basswood, however,
Yeah, we can get.
Well, yeah, there's Basswood.
Basswood between Blue Mound and Bailey Boswell.
Are the fixtures on Basswood single?
What was that, sorry?
Are the fixtures on Basswood single?
I will have to look at Encore's mapping for the lighting fixtures, because that's not a
Basswood-
street that I
Basswood
looked
might be
into.
another option to put the banners on.
Yeah, again, at the moment, it's just kind of an update to see if we can receive an exception from Encore so that we can continue to use the streets that we currently have for banner placement. If I hear back from them and that's not the case and we are forced to change our locations, then I'll update you, and that way we can reassess new locations for banners.
Do you have the banners that are City on the Right Track banners and the training green?
The ones that are not hung up are They are at our Public Works office, correct?
Okay, okay, I just didn't recall you saying anything about the training grain banner, because we should have somewhere in the vicinity of,
Yeah, the training grain, like
100
with the
banners
fall
at this
leaves, we
point.
have 9 of them in stock.
okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have gone damaged or missing, because we had,
Yeah, she said there was some damage from weather.
yeah.
So depending on the streets that we were wanting to cover, placement, so that they're more evenly distributed, we'll just, again, after Encore's response, reassess all of that, and I'll follow up with you guys.
The last meeting, we discussed that we wanted more on the bridge, but the bridge is now not an option,
If we hear back from Encore and it's not, then we wouldn't be able to do it.
because the bridge is part of that, not,
They're double fixtures on the bridge.
I'll have to double check with their mapping. If they're double fixtures, we wouldn't be allowed to do it. And in the bridge, we have custom panels that we've ordered to put those flyers up. So they're not on an actual pole, they're like on custom brackets that we had
Oh, okay.
ordered.
So then they would still be able to put them on the bridge.
If Encore permits that, but if no other ones are allowed on Bailey Buswell, then it'll be up to you guys as to if we want to have just one on the road or if we want to instead place them all in different locations, once we hear back from Encore.
Okay.
Mm.
Any
We-
other question? The next item on the list is expenditure fund report.
Yeah, so this is a report of donations received throughout the months of October and February, really, as well as the expenses that have already come out of our funds. We don't have any pending for the following month. The ones from the list that are for sure going to be repeated will be for the mowing services, for the right-of-ways at Blue Mount, and a couple of other roads. But those 23 signs and the other 23 signs were the ones that I referenced on that past update. And the estimated available funds that we have at the moment will be highlighted at the bottom. The second part of that attachment is the budget for this year, as reported by our finance director. So $10,000 are allocated for supplies. That will be your signs, like the ones that the money that we'll use for the Adopt a Spot or Yard of the Month signs, and likely where the gift cards would come out of for the Yard of the Month program. And the other big chunk of our budget would be for contracting services. Lastly, the capital outlay special request. If you guys have any questions on any of those items and I can answer them, feel free. And if there's anything that we want to follow up on
So
more.
is the art in public places, is that their request? Is that like what they're thinking it's gonna cost if we're interested in that?
Are you speaking of the expenses that we've made or in the budget?
No, it says capital outlay and special request.
So it would be, right now, for art in public spaces, that's what it means by special request, either from the
So
board,
that-
if we
is
were
that
to
money
initiate it.
That money's set aside for that?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what we have for something like the prior item we discussed of potential art projects and the park tree planting. So $5,000 come out of the Parks Board and $5,000 come out of the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board for tree plantation across city parks. Per our current budget, of course. Once budget season comes up, we can definitely rediscuss this and provide recommendations to council.
so council came up with this budget for us.
Yes.
Per what I was told by the finance department, they came up with the park tree planting for sure, like taking that expense out of the board, and the others they based on city council decisions as well as like past spending reports from the board. So just kind of combination of both.
Do you have questions?
I'm reading Kelly's face.
And the board falls silent for some reason. And we get down to money. Well, I'll make a motion, we accept it as is.
It's already, Mr. Chairman, you wouldn't need to make a motion, it's just kind of a report.
We just have no
There's,
say.
there's no vote, yeah.
There's no
no
vote,
say.
yeah. It is our
Have a say.
2024,
Well, I'm sorry. Just right now, she's just presenting the numbers so that y'all are aware of what the breakdown is for the budget. Because, you know, if you have all this money, you need to know what you kind of are budgeting for, right? So you get your weekly paycheck, you know that you can spend X amount on groceries, X amount on gas. This is all that that's saying, essentially. But you are able to always go up or down as long as you change the numbers, right? So you do have discretion when it comes to that. Now, if in the future, if you wanted to allocate more money for Christmas tree or Christmas lights, you're more than welcome to do so, but that would have to be a future item with a discussion and action. And most likely towards the fiscal year, so that your, you know, your whole new budget starts, and that way it can be more feasible for you to, but you can always make mid-year adjustments and whatnot. You just have to make sure that you have the money in your account.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just an idea.
Yes.
It's not like set in stone.
Mhm. Any
Excellent.
questions? Sorry, I don't know if I'd explained that very well, or,
Oh, no, you did fine.
Okay.
No, you-
You did fine.
yep.
okay, thank you, Susie.
The next item to call is future agenda items.
Future what?
Agenda item?
Future agenda.
Do we have any future agenda items?
I had mentioned several months ago about the new construction that we've got going here. If we tie all of that together with landscape from the fire department down this boulevard, both sides of the street, is that still feasible?
Can you repeat the question, sorry?
Continuing landscape.
She's
Okay.
wanting to unify the landscaping all the
Of
way
all
down
city
McElroy,
facilities.
so
All the way down the
that
boulevard.
whatever they're doing new over here.
Will be applied
will-
over here.
Will kind of go along with what's already, or update what's going along so that it's consistent from end to end with all the community buildings and city
'Cause
structures up and
This really
down.
will become the city of Saginaw.
And not, so it's not
And if
like a
it's all
hodgepodge.
landscaped,
So
If we
I
want to,
think somebody was going to be discussing with the contractors about what
Keith-
they've already planned,
Keith was gonna check with the architects.
what's been planned here
Okay.
versus what's already existing and what can be done to make it more.
so if you wish to make it a
Thank you.
future agenda item, I can prepare a report as to what's planned for landscaping at the new library and let you know what they're doing to ensure that it's looking, I guess, the same as what we have for other city facilities, and bring it back to you guys
I'd love
in the
to
next
see
meeting.
that. I'm a master gardener, so I would love to see that. Both sides of the street, beautifully landscaped, matching.
Yes.
And all of this that's around this building and the library, all of that be in this rec center. All of it be updated and coordinated together.
Mrs. Chairman, so Ms. Pena will go ahead and get a report for y'all and hopefully have some further information in regards to how the current plan is looking like. And at that time, if y'all wanted to try to add any additional to complete, just because we don't know what it looks like currently, but if y'all wanted to add or make any modifications and supplement that with y'all's budget, y'all are more than welcome to do so at that time as well. But she'll draft that report and then we can go forward with that as well.
Okay, sounds great.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds great. I just want to keep that out there.
Of course.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to keep out there is the Saginaw Community Garden.
Yes.
So my daughter is working on a presentation for council now. We'd like it to be made a park, so it should fall under Parks and Rec, but If not, council suggested that either the Parks Board or this board oversee the community garden. And the community garden committee. So I don't know exactly where we're leaving. I know I don't know when they're on the agenda to discuss that at the council meeting.
What's the location of the community garden?
It's right there.
It's right here.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Right next-
Yep.
It's growing. And the interest is growing, that's a good thing.
Yes.
So,
So I guess, I don't know, these are just future agenda items, so I don't know where that comes in. We had discussed helping with the irrigation eventually, but also that depends on us finishing all the plots and stuff, because no irrigator wants to put anything in, give us even quotes until we get all the plots in, so I'm guessing that that's not a next month, but a future? I don't know. I'm like Lena, I want to keep it in the
Keep it up.
Keep it in the mix.
Keep it in there.
so what I'm hearing is you guys would like me to follow up with other city departments to see what our role could be in providing support in the beautification of that garden? So at this
I
time, it
guess
has
so.
not been assigned as like something that the board oversees yet.
Right, yeah, so I'm not sure when she
What
goes
would
in.
be the process to make that a city park?
That's what they're gonna vote on at the meeting, apparently.
Oh, the city council has to
Yes,
vote that?
apparently, yeah, Cindy already talked to, the city attorney. So basically, they just have to vote on it to make it a park.
That would be a big help. I would think that would be a big help if it was a
Yeah,
city.
at which point, if it gets denominated a park, it would just be under the dominion of the Parks and Recreation Board. And we can provide assessments for beautification of it.
Maybe we can provide, assistance to them for that.
So we're trying to make it pretty.
Okay, are we through?
This has nothing to do with what we've been talking about. Back to the, Opal Jennings and Brian's thing. They both, I think they both have the book drop. You know, take a book, bring a book.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming those will go back up.
Okay.
'Cause I'm across the street from Opal Jennings, and that's a very busy, I see kids there all the time, you know, dropping and picking one up, and it's been a good thing that the Boy Scouts have done for us. So I would like to.
Yeah, I can add that as a staff report for our next agenda, so that I can let you guys know what the plans are for that. And-
It's a simple, you know, they pounded it into the ground. They just-
So do we want to include the book drop-offs and the signs
Mhm.
placed? Okay. Just at Opal?
And Brian
Okay.
Brian, and I can't pronounce the last name.
Schwingler?
Schwingler.
Schwingler?
Schweiger.
Schwingler?
I don't know why my mouth doesn't.
I probably didn't pronounce it right either.
And I don't know.
Spelling it is just as hard too.
I don't know if there's others that, you know, are being redone. I just know those two because they are in my neighborhood.
Anything else, future-wise? Okay. So now I have to adjourn it. How do I adjourn it?
Mrs. Chairman, so you would just open it up for adjournment, and you would have someone first and second it, and then once they have that, then you would just say the meeting with a first and a second. You repeat the motion, essentially, and then you give the time of the adjournment. So for
Sorry,
example,
I'm opening up this meeting for adjournment, is what I say?
you just like, the next item is adjournment. Would anyone like to make a
Would
motion
anyone
to
like
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
Second it?
Meeting adjourned at 19:42.
And then does everyone agree first before we,
Oh,
on the motion? Okay.
okay.
Okay, so meeting is adjourned at 9:42. Well, ladies,
7:42.
oh, why did I write 9 o'clock? I don't know. My
19.
my brain
I
is,
do military.
it's towards the end of the day. I apologize.
No worries.
Well, no, we'll shut off everything before